On a December day in 1926, one of the most famous authors in the world vanished. Her abandoned car was found near a chalk pit in Surrey, with no sign of her inside. For 11 days, the world speculated. Had she been kidnapped, murdered, or had she staged her own disappearance?
It is completely untrue to suggest that I staged it as a publicity stunt.
Her name became a brand of mystery itself. Agatha Christie, the mind behind Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, and the writer who would sell more novels than anyone before or since. Her own life, filled with drama, loss and resilience, was as fascinating as any of her plots. In 1890, a child named Agatha Mary Clarissa Miller was born in the seaside town of Torquay. The youngest in her family, she grew up shy but brimming with imagination, often filling her solitude with made-up stories and characters. Her father, an American, nurtured her curiosity, but his death when she was 11 left the family struggling. By her 20s, Agatha had begun writing seriously. During the First World War, she volunteered as a nurse and later worked in a hospital dispensary. There, she gained a lasting knowledge of medicines and poisons, knowledge that would eventually give her fictional crimes a chilling authenticity.
Give me a decent bottle of poison and I'll construct the perfect crime.
On the eve of war in 1914, she married a young officer in the Royal Flying Corps, Archibald Christie. What began as a hopeful wartime romance would unravel in betrayal a decade later. In early December 1926, following a quarrel with her husband, Agatha disappeared. Her car was discovered abandoned by a chalk pit, lights still on, and personal items left behind. A scene as mysterious as any she had invented. A nationwide manhunt began. Thousands of police and volunteers searched the countryside, while newspapers around the world printed breathless headlines about the missing novelist. 11 days later, she was found at a spa hotel in Harrogate, registered under the surname of her husband's mistress. She claimed amnesia, a diagnosis still debated today. Some saw it as a collapse brought on by grief and exhaustion. Others whispered that it was deliberate, a calculated response to betrayal.
The incident itself was a tragedy of my life, and I can only say that I came out of it as one comes out of a nightmare.
After divorcing Archie in 1928, Agatha rebuilt her life. In 1930, she married Max Mallowan, a rising archaeologist. Together, they travelled through the Middle East, where ancient ruins and deserts inspired novels like Murder in Mesopotamia and Death on the Nile. During these years, her writing flourished. She introduced Miss Marple to stand beside Poirot and perfected the twist endings that left readers stunned. Her success was extraordinary. By mid-century, her books were outselling every author except Shakespeare and the Bible. She produced an extraordinary catalogue, dozens of detective novels, short stories, and even a stage play, The Mousetrap, which continues to run decades after its first performance.
Very few of us are what we seem.
When the Second World War broke out, Christie returned to service, this time in a London hospital pharmacy, where her knowledge of medicines and poisons deepened. By the 1950s, she was a global phenomenon, with readers across continents and countless adaptations bringing her stories to stage and screen. In 1956, she was named Commander of the Order of the British Empire, and in 1971, she was made a Dame Commander in recognition of her contribution to literature.
I do not argue with obstinate men. I act in spite of them.
Agatha Christie continued to write into her 80s, though age eventually slowed her hand. In 1976, at the age of 85, she passed away peacefully, leaving the world a lifetime's worth of stories. Her books have sold more than 2 billion copies, translated into over 100 languages. Poirot and Miss Marple remain household names, and The Mousetrap still runs in London, decades after its debut.
The simplest explanation is always the most likely.
Her life carried mysteries of its own, but her legacy is clear. She mastered the art of the puzzle, entertained generations, and reshaped the detective story for the modern age.
Every mystery has a solution. It only waits for someone to find it.
She was and remains the undisputed queen of crime.